Hi, I'm Cloë Atkinson. I'm Managing Director at Mortgage Engine. Mortgage Engine is an API platform that we put together a couple of years ago, which means that we can provide mortgage applications from leading lenders in about 60 seconds. So we have access via our APIs into the middleware of the lenders' decisioning systems. It means that the vision is in years to come that you could be walking along, see a property that you like, your phone would know the location and the address of that property. Your phone also knows the kind of pertinent personal financial information about you as an individual, could send that through to us as an application, and we within 30 seconds could come back to you and say, yeah, you could have that mortgage, you could have a mortgage on this property, and we could go ahead and offer on buying that property. So that's the vision and the plan. So API is application programming interface, and it's really a kind of a buzzword for being able to pass information backwards and forwards between two different systems. And as we know, there's loads of different code bases, loads of different programming types, but actually what an API does is like a universal travel adapter. So for instance, if a lender is application system for us is in C++ or something like that, and we're using something else, what that means is we can send them the data points for a mortgage application, and they receive them, process them as an application, and send us a decision back within 30-40 seconds. And basically everything that you use on your phone is using APIs. So whether you're on a weather app and you're asking that to look at the weather in a different county, or whether you are looking at Citymapper, and that would then use APIs to interrogate London Transport's APIs on where the buses and tubes are going. It will look at the APIs on Google Maps or other map systems to be able to tell you the best walking route. So anything you use your phone for is getting information from different sources. That is an API in practice. Myself as a woman in tech, no, I don't. Or I suppose I didn't until a couple of years ago. So I have a traditional banking background. I started as an accountant in a bank. I've done all of my accounting qualifications, and then a few years ago moved into kind of like a project management role and an innovation role within the bank that I worked at, and was really flabbergasted by how out of date our technology was. And when we started to research the kind of availability of other technology in other sectors, realised that actually we could really start to move things forwards and push things forward. So I'm not a coder. I wouldn't know, the guys show me the code base and I'm like, oh, that's lovely. I'm not a technical person in that respect, but what I've done is spent the last few years working with great tech people and being able to see the vision of where we want to get to, and being able to with a great team around me, so great product managers and great business analysts, to be able to translate that vision down into tangible tickets that we then are able to give to the techies to develop. So I think there's a difference between, yes, you have your coders, we have our testers, we have our business analysts, and we have our product owners that sit in that, what we call the product team. But actually it takes experience as well. So people that I think, I consider myself to be working in tech because I'm able to work with a tech team to deliver something out to market. A big part of my role is about bridging that gap between the technology team and the kind of vision. So I need to be able to break down and find a way through the problem of, our vision and how we need to get there. And in a lot of instances, that's chunking it up into little MVPs, so little deliverables of what's the minimum viable product that we could get out to market. So making it manageable and bite-sized for the team to be able to say, right, that's what we need to be working on next. And sequencing as well. So a big part of what I do is the strategy of, right, we want to get here. How do we prioritize and make sure that we're doing the right things in the right order to be able to get there? And giving the team the vision so they know where we're heading, that keeps them going and keeps them motivated. I think there's a few things that I would advocate for women and young girls when you're thinking about a career and kind of, a career in tech, but career anywhere, basically. There's a lot of research out in the market about women and why we don't achieve as much or we don't earn as much. And actually one of the things that really struck me when I read the report was around women don't apply for roles because they don't believe that they can do them, and men do apply for roles even if they can't do them. And there's actual, clinical, there's research been done that proves this. And I think men look at a job description and they say, oh, I can do the first two of those, I'll wing the rest. Where generally as women, we look at the job description and say, oh yeah, I can definitely do that, I could do that, I could do that. There's a tiny bit at the end of the last sentence that I'm not 100% sure about, therefore I better not apply. And I think for me, it's around us as women advocating for ourselves a bit more and saying, I can do this, I understand this, I could make this better. There's a bit there that I don't know, but actually doing like guys do a bit more and winging it, or doing a bit of research, finding someone that can help you and actually having a confidence in yourself to apply for that job and have the conversation with the recruiter around, I've done this really well, I'm really strong in this area, and selling ourselves a bit better and a bit more. I think that's, we are traditionally as women, we're brought up to be meek and quiet, aren't we? And and not really shout about ourselves. And I think I get a lot of flack for being gobby or being pushy, whereas guys who are doing exactly the same things as me and saying the same things as me would be seen as strong and powerful. And I think, we as women need to be a bit more ballsy and a bit more confident about our own abilities, and be able and be comfortable talking about what we're good at and how we work and where our strengths are. I also think as a leader in the industry, there's a responsibility on me as well to change how we recruit. So actually the whole recruitment process is based around selling yourself, whereas actually generally women aren't very good at that. That doesn't mean they won't be excellent at the job, because they'll sit and they'll get on and they'll get the job done quietly, which is exactly what we need in businesses. So I think there's twofold. So yeah, my advice to women out there is, to believe in yourself. I think there's another piece around believe in your gut as well and go with your gut. So I think there's been many situations in my career where you know instinctively what the right thing to do is, but you allow other people to tell you otherwise because they're naysaying, or they don't believe or understand it as well as you do. And actually that's meant in certain circumstances I've lost confidence in what I believe or what I think is the right answer to a question. Whereas actually believing in your gut and working hard generally gets you into the right place. So that would be my other thing is, believe yourself. And then I think the third thing for me is about taking time out. So I know when I've done best in my career is when I've taken an hour a week or a few hours a month and stepped back from my job and not been flat out all the time, but taken time either with a like a personal coach, or by logging myself onto courses, or taking time out of my day-to-day work to improve myself and to improve my understanding of the industry that I work in. And I think that's really, really valuable. When I started this job, I had worked in finance. So yeah, like you say, ivory tower in the bank. Yes, I presented to my team or presented finances to, committees and stuff. So there'd be 20 or 30 people in the room, but I had never knocked on customers' doors and said, oh hi, can I try and sell you something? And that's so I think when I first started, it was like, oh my god, and it's that thing of like, I'm that imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough to do this, they're going to call me out, they're going to ask me about the tech, and I'll be like, I'll have to come back to you on that. But you realize the more you do it that actually most people don't understand, and if you can get them into a comfortable place where they feel comfortable to ask questions, that's where you start to move forward. And so please encourage my team, male or female, to be asking questions, because if you're not asking questions, you're not learning, and therefore you can't know everything. And I think I've worked with a lot of guys primarily, but not necessarily, that think that they have to know everything, and if I ask a question I've failed. And I think there's a big myth buster there, isn't it, around kind of making sure that people are in a comfortable environment to ask the questions to make sure they learn and grow. So I think from a jobs in the industry perspective, for me it's about a mixed bunch. So we have a mixed cultural and a mix of men and women within my team. I'd like a lot more women. you know, I put my hands up and say, for every job that we recruit, I always get 3 male CVs, and I always go back to the recruiter and say, can I also have some female CVs as well? And when I meet the people, sometimes the women are better, and we recruit them on their merits because they are better, but primarily just because of the proportions, we've ended up with a much larger male team. But for me, it's about that mixture and having a balance of everything, so all different cultures, all different backgrounds and ages as well, I think really makes a really great team. So I'm not recruiting women to push men out, I'm recruiting women to have a nice balance across the team. And I think, you know, there's plenty of jobs for everyone, so I think it's really important that we do get that right balance. So if you're interested in finding out a bit more about Mortgage Engine or getting in touch with me, then you can find us at mortgageengine.co.uk. We are on Twitter at mortgage_ENG, or LinkedIn. Feel free to follow us or to reach out to me and drop me a message.